Hi there, and welcome to this short overview video of Hein Orchestral Brass. Here we'll be focusing on the complete version of the library, which runs in both the full version of Native Instruments Kontakt and the free Kontakt-Player. There's also a cheaper, compact version of Orchestral Brass available, which contains the same instruments with reduced articulations and functions. The differences between these two libraries I'll be looking at in a separate video. This orchestral brass collection has been developed from start to finish by Hein, sample library pioneer with over 30 years of experience. Innovative recording techniques and interface features combine to produce one of the most naturally playable yet infinitely customizable brass libraries on the market. Anyone familiar with Hein's orchestral woodwind, harmonica, unique horn and violin libraries should feel right at home with some of these features, such as phase-aligned samples, true intelligent legato, the note head designer, hotkeys, automatic glide, crossfade and vibrato. With orchestral brass, the features have been pushed even further to fully express the range and dynamics that are distinctive to brass instruments. The players have really been pushed to their limits, and this results in both extended dynamic and playable ranges. Portamento transitions have also been captured. More on all of this later, but first let's have a look at the basics. This is the basic interface for orchestral brass, and whether you're playing the 9 different trumpets, French horns or trombones, or even the pre-mixed ensembles, the functionality and controls are exactly the same. Let's play a short piece on trumpet using the green key switches just here to choose articulations. This simple control panel could be all you need for most phrases, but its simplicity hides a wealth of functions within. See how many articulations there are, including sustains, dynamic expression, flutter, many shorts, and even special techniques. However, that's just for starters. Any articulation can be embellished using the note heads, which shape the attack portion of the note to provide hundreds of different combinations of attack and sustain, with a single MIDI controller, CC2 by default. Let's hear that. Orchestral brass was recorded in a very special way, using the finest equipment with a solid-state mixing desk. The 3 virtuoso ensemble players performed together, able to see and hear one another, but within acoustically separated rooms, so that individual instruments could be sampled. This means that whenever you combine the 3 Kontakt instruments of one ensemble, be it trumpets, trombones or French horns, you'll get a completely cohesive sound from the library, as if the players were in the same room, because for all intents and purposes, they were. Next I'll show you the real flexibility of orchestral brass, which can be used to program every size of section, from a solo instrument right up to a full ensemble of many instruments. I'll do this using a combination of instruments, different convolution effects, and the ensemble function. So here's the French horn. This is just French horn 1 of a possible 3 individual instruments, and I'll dial in some more intimate sounding reverbs for the body and room. As you can see, these 2 convolution reverbs are completely adjustable, depending on the character you want to bring to your own sound. So here's a single horn. And now let's play the same with all 3 players together using a more wet reverb. Because the samples in orchestral brass are quite dry, we can use the body and room reverbs to emulate different environments. Of course, if you want an even larger brass section, you can always use the ensemble controls to increase the number of virtual players, with adjustable detune and spread controls. Don't forget that pre-mixed ensemble patches are also available, very handy for quick mock-ups where you don't need to split the ensembles up. Whilst I've got the trombones and horns loaded together, let me quickly show you how low these patches really go. Almost a full octave below other sample libraries. And these aren't artificially extended, the players really pushed themselves to play those low notes, which almost go down to the range of a bass trombone and tuba, meaning there's no need for these two super low instruments in this library. So now we're back to a simple solo trombone, and we'll look at another feature of Chris Hein Orchestral Brass, the two types of legato. You might be familiar already with the standard kind of legato. But with this library, there's also a portamento, which can be switched in by using the sustain pedal in this case, although that can be easily reassigned. As you can see here, the portamento speed can also be adjusted. In fact, all of the controls can be assigned to whichever MIDI controller suits you best. For example, vibrato and expression, which are normally assigned to the mod wheel and expression pedal respectively. As you heard there, you can get a completely smooth transition between the 6 dynamic layers thanks to Chris Hein's unique phaser line method. This incredible technique splits the recorded samples into their constituent pure tone and pure noise parts. The tone waveforms are then aligned so that the different dynamic range samples are always locked in phase. Adding the pure noise back into the samples gives them their distinctive character. This completely avoids the curse of phasing issues that most multi-dynamic sample libraries suffer. Another reason to choose Chris Hein instruments. That almost wraps it up for this brief overview of Chris Hein Orchestral Brass, and I haven't even mentioned some useful settings such as micro-tuning, velocity curve dynamics, ADSR shaping, release controls and pitch bend settings. There's also a whole other page devoted to effects, from subtle changes like EQ and reverb to full-on digital manipulation using filters, flanges and delay. There's also a whole page devoted to vibrato, which you can either set via an LFO or design your own vibrato curves. For more information about orchestral brass and the brand new pricing structure for all Chris Hein orchestral instruments, head to www.chrishein.net or www.bestservice.de, where you can also hear demos and access support materials. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye now.